Right, hello everybody. Tracy's here. Hello Tracy. Thanks for joining. Right. I think we should have levels better today. Kind of playing around with them a bit during the week. So hopefully the music can be heard properly and it's not too loud. And you can see and hear me properly. Right, how is everybody doing? Let's see if I can see who's here already. Not many people here yet. Zanka, hello Zanka, thanks for joining. Okay, how's everybody? What are we all doing? What do we all want to chat about today? What am I busy with? Let's see, what am I busy with? I have finished the Ancestral Veneration book. I'm just getting somebody else to read it, just to check it's okay. Did feel it did feel a bit repetitive to me. Sort of taking concepts within Astral Veneration and kind of examining them from different perspectives, and then taking another concept and examining them from all those perspectives again. So it did feel a bit repetitive. So I'm just getting somebody else to read it. Hopefully that should be available soon. That's going to go into the Temple of the Horned Serpent tiers, and also it's going to be sold separately. So if you are part of or member of the Temple of the Horned Serpent, then you'll get it in there as part of the tier. Luke's here. Hello, Luke's. Thanks for joining. Let's see what else am I busy with. I am actually busy with, I think it's quite an interesting book. It's definitely interesting so far. What I did, I'm very interested in techno-paganism, techno-mysticism, all of that stuff, cyber magic and whatnot. And I thought, seeing that it's about technology, cyberspace, digital world and all that stuff, why don't I, with some obvious direction, why don't I get AI to write it? So I got ChatGPT. I put some basic prompts in, got it to write, and just try to figure out or just kind of put it together. And now I'm busy reading through it to find out what it actually mentioned and what it says about cyber magic, techno mysticism, all that stuff. And so far, it's really freaking interesting. I mean, it goes into like was one of the prompts, but these synchronized world or synchronized universe, that we will live in a synchronized universe. But it starts talking about the sacred code and the digital loom, and that's really interesting so far. So anyway, I will see if that's actually worth putting out there or not. But it's going to be a while. James Dixon, hello everybody. Oh, hello James. You said good evening, folks. There you go. What else am I busy with? There is also another project that I am going to be doing, which has been started. It's it's basically developing a system around the four queens of sacred prostitution, Lilith, Naama, Agrat, and Isheth, which was kind of been directed. I've been directed to do that by Naama, and so that's also unraveling and turning out very, very interesting. But that's going to be still a while. There's a lot of development of a lot of stuff I've got to actually put to test, experiment within that regard. So not just spitting it out and expecting everybody else to do it. I need to do it myself before I can do that. So yeah, that might be a few months down the line. But it is very interesting so far. All of it's very interesting so far. I'm having a interesting writing time at the moment. Yeah. So, what's everybody else busy with? What do you want to chat about today? some reason my electricity just had a bit of a spurt. If I do happen to disappear, it's because we had a power failure. It's being a bit weird at the moment. We had one last night, so only fixed it again like early this morning, so. Anyway, alright. Luke's lighted up a candle for Aphrodite and spent some time with her. Very nice session. Good, nice stuff. Yeah, Aphrodite's on a... I haven't worked with Aphrodite directly, but I do work with the Ishtar, Nana, Astarte kind of combo there, which a lot of people say that Venus and Aphrodite kind of developed from that, so... But, yeah. Very quiet tonight. So, could you tell us more about self-deification you mentioned in the video on Yaldabaoth? That, I mean, in regards to Yaldabaoth or the Demiurge, it's very much in terms of like the idea that he thinks he is the ultimate god from the Gnostic point of view, and he's not really, but he just thinks that he is. The self-deification really is bringing yourself into a state of being a deity, being a god or a goddess, and I believe that we already are. Each of us. What happens is we kind of have a realization, an understanding that is what we really are, and we come to that knowledge. So it's not like that in itself is a path, but it's not like you are not and then you follow a path and you become deified. You really are. You are, and you just become aware of it. That's my understanding of it anyway. The self-deification in terms of Yaldabaoth is really about him understanding himself as making himself a deity or the deity of everything, believing that he created all things, not just the earth, but the entire cosmos and everything else. But in Gnosticism, he really is the Demiurge, very misunderstood, or not misunderstood, he misunderstands himself. So yeah, it's a bit slightly different, I think, in terms of what we may be after. James, I've been doing some Helios veneration today. I found a really interesting essay examining the assimilation of Helios and the PGM, which was enlightening. That's cool, I like that. Dragon's here, hello Dragon. Yeah, the PGM's a very interesting text. I really need to go back and go through it in a bit more detail. You know, I went through it some years back and didn't really understand what the hell I was reading. But really, I've got more knowledge. It's definitely something I need to go back to and examine a bit further, because there's some extremely interesting Greco-Egyptian kind of overlaps and everything else that come into that. But I mean, just the fact that I mean, the age of it, but also that it was constructed from various different texts over like centuries. Yeah, kind of interesting text. Anyway, Luke's a few months ago, Lilith visited me in a dream or astral, and I know we talked, but I don't remember anything about this. Why? Probably because it was a dream. The problem is when we come out of a dream and the conscious mind starts kicking in, it tends to alter things to fit the conscious mind instead of the dreaming mind. So it will filter a lot of things out, it will remove a lot of things, it will change a lot of things, symbolisms specifically. Like if you are flying through the air, you know, just flying yourself, your body's flying through the air. Your conscious mind, when you come out of the dream, might reinterpret that as you are in an aeroplane. If you are flying quite low to the ground, it may reinterpret it as you are driving in a car, you know, that type of stuff. So our conscious mind tends to filter out stuff from our dreams, which is why dream recall is something we need to practice. It's almost like a muscle, and therefore, if we do practice dream recall, then you know, it becomes easier when we kind of have that the hypnopompic stage of coming out of sleep and coming back into waking life or waking awareness. You know, that it's the recall itself is a lot more solid. Yeah, it's just easier to recall your dreams if you keep practicing. As I said, it's a bit like a muscle. But that can also happen if you are doing journey work. You know, you might not be in a dream state or in a sleeping state and dreaming. You may actually be taking a journey, an astral journey or something like that to your temple, whatever that may look like. And even that, sometimes you get into such a deep trance and you kind of hit a hypnagogic state and you kind of start to slip a bit further into a sleep state and you have these conversations and then you just can't remember what the conversation was. I do it a lot when I was scrying, because I go into a deep hypnagogic state. So what I actually do is I have a recorder. I've just started on my phone to record everything that I say while I'm actually scrying. So when I see something or hear something, when I'm in a deep hypnagogic state, I speak it, and then the recorder picks it up, and then I've got a record of it, because I know that a second after that's passed, I won't remember how I saw or heard or anything like that. It does take some practice, and I still need to practice myself. It's just not one of those things that come very easy, I'm afraid. Some people it does, a lot easier than others. So it might be something you want to consider if you do this, you know, type of journey stuff. Also, even when I come out of dreaming, I will usually, if I'm coming out and I'm kind of in a sort of conscious state and I remember the dream, I will instantly grab my phone. I'll press record and I'll actually record it. I usually battle to understand how I'm saying when I'm awake properly, but at least I've got a record and it kind of allows you to remember what was happening. So just I find it the easiest thing is just hit record and just record, and even if it sounds like a load of jumbled garbage because you can't speak properly because you're not even totally conscious yet, when you play it back, you tend to remember. It kind of triggers memories of the dream, so it does make it a little bit easier, because I know if the minute I have stood up, that's it, the dream's gone usually. So I can't even write it down somewhere because it's gone. By that time, it's just gone. So that's my method of trying to remember dreams. Luke's interesting. Always, when I got visited, I remember everything beside talk. That's kind of sad. Yeah, it's probably, when it comes to the imagery, it's easier to remember because it's imagery, and therefore it kind of falls into that realm of symbolism. So it's kind of easier to put things into place there. But even then, you might find that the imagery that you remember when you're in a conscious awake state may not actually be the same as what it was during the dreaming state. It's just you think it was because you've woken up from dreaming. Your consciousness has filled in some bits here and there, filled in some blanks, altered some particular symbolisms, just to suit a conscious mind, to make sense of things, and then so it might not actually be exactly the same as what it was while you were dreaming, but things like conversations are sometimes a bit more difficult because it involves a string of words that you have to then put together. It's easier to remember what what somebody looks like than it is to remember exactly what they said. Quite often we can remember the gist of what was actually said, what was spoken, you know, the understanding of what it was, but not the exact words. James, thanks for joining the supporters. I'm actually going to put out a video in a couple of weeks about asking people to move to the Patreon. They are supporters or whatever members, but that's fine. I'm not going to shut it down or anything. It's just, I don't know, just better on Patreon, I think. But it's cool. But thank you anyway. All right. How's everybody doing with the music? It's the Tool radio. James, my timing is impeccable as always. So don't worry about it. It's fine. As I said, I'm not going to shut it down, but I need to see over the next couple of months whether Google starts taking withholding 30% of my earnings on from YouTube, because that's quite a hefty withholding. But yeah, I'll have to see. End of January, I'll know. Okay. Luke's, hello Luke's again. Speaking up lately, I was collecting something in dreams, and I only knew that I was collecting, and then when I was connecting to deities, etc., they asked me if I keep collecting. It's kind of strange. What do you mean by collecting? Sorry, I'm a bit lost there. You're collecting something in dreams. Sorry, I'm a bit lost on what the collecting is. Just let me know what the collecting is. Oh, alright. I should have changed the music. Okay. Oh, that's a good playlist. Where'd it go now? It's gone. Oh, there's this one. We'll do this one. It's got Public Image Limited, Susie Sisters, Red Grey. Yeah, don't like that one. Let's get rid of that one. Get rid of it. How do I get rid of it? Oh, no. Okay, we'll just have to skip things we don't like. Let's start with this one. Public Image Limited. I don't know if anybody listens to listened to Public Image Limited. Hill. Quite interesting because it's got the lead singer was actually Johnny Rotten from the Sex Pistols. I only found that out quite recently. I never knew that before. Never connected the two. So. Right. Quiet tonight. I think things are a bit quiet because it's silly season. It's September. It's December. People are kind of a bit busy. See, like I was collecting some stuff, picking up, etc. Oh, in your dreams. Okay. Interesting, because if you're collecting things or picking things up in your dreams, you might want to try and find those things in the waking world, if you call it that. It's still the dreaming world, but different dream. But yeah, see if you find them in the conscious world, not the dreaming world. Because you can often do. It's actually a thing that you can add into a lucid dreaming practice, for instance. Is actually find something in the physical world, and then you know, wherever it may be, like a rock or something like that, and then go and find it in dreaming world. Remember, that was part of Castaneda's training that Don Juan gave, and apart from checking your hands, you know, while you're awake, keep checking your hands, see if they change and morph, and then when you're dreaming, you'll automatically just go and check your hands because you've been doing it all the time, and then all of a sudden they start changing. I'm gonna get a storm here soon. And then what you can do is you can then find something in the physical world and then go and find the same thing in your dreaming world. So I'm gonna try that. I just want to double check. I'm obviously live and everybody can see me and hear me. But according to what I'm seeing here, I've still got the beginning screen and it's been 25 minutes live. Weird. Okay, we're not going to rely on that. That's weird. Yeah. Okay, so, yeah. Well, as I said, very quiet. It is December. I think everybody's either busy or asleep. Resting. Ooh, I might as well do the announcement. Oh, I don't know. I actually can't remember. I'm sure I mentioned last week. In January, I'm going to change things slightly. I'm going to do the Monday videos that normally go up on a Monday. I'm going to actually do those on a Sunday. Let me see if I can get my times right this time. So I may put it in a video that I'm going to put up next week, but I kept getting the times mixed up. So GMT terms. I'm going to do the video at 4 p.m. GMT, and then we'll start the live at normal time, 5 p.m. GMT. But I'm going to premiere the video at 4 p.m. GMT. So I'll do a premiere, and I'll be in the chat. And then almost immediately after that, then we'll do the usual live, which we're doing now, and continue to chat. It might actually, you know, you might want to actually watch the video and then continue the discussion of the video itself. Give us something to talk about. So I'll give that a try start in January. First Monday in January, well, first Sunday in January. And the Ask Uncle Lee Wednesdays will be the same. And then the Demon of the Week will still be there. I'm probably going to kind of fade out Demon of the Week. I had a look at it earlier. I think we've done 127 weeks worth and 127 demons so far. So I'll probably bleed that or fade that out over the next couple of months. So I'm just going to put the live on wait. You can still listen to the music. I just need to go close windows and stuff, or I think I'm going to have a very wet house. I'll see you in a second. Right, sorry about that. Luke, I feel like part of me doing some higher spiritual things, and once it's over, remember only part of it. Yeah, it's a usual thing. It's not like it's, I think we all find that. What you can do, or try and do, is go back. Put yourself into a light trance state. Don't put yourself into a very deep trance state, because that's usually what happens is we get into a really deep trance state, and then we kind of shift in and out of, I find anyway, kind of shift in and out of a sleep state. And that makes it very difficult to remember a lot of things, because, you just kind of slip into that too far into a sleep state. So put yourself into a light trance state, and then start replaying what happened, and see if you can start filling in gaps and putting bits and pieces together. And that's actually quite a good exercise to do, and a skill to develop, really. Let's give it a try. Morgan is here. Hello, Morgan. Dragon, why not start a series about elemental and household spirits next? Could do. There's not really. I mean, we could. There's not really a lot to talk about there. I mean, not like the demons. As I said, 127 weeks, 127 videos we've done on that one. But I want to. The reason why I'm one of the reasons I'm actually going to start fading that out is because I need more time to create content for people on Patreon, for instance. So I'll probably take that time just to sort that stuff out. So I'm finding YouTube is taking up a lot of time, and I've also got to do my web development, web design business, and trying to do Patreon, trying to write books, trying to create more video courses. It's a lot of work, so I'm just going to shift that time to somewhere else. But I think Ask and Bully Wednesdays will still be going, and we'll still do what was Monday Musings. I'll move to Sunday, and then we'll do the live stream afterwards, and that'll be premiered. So a bit more interaction, actually. Kenneth, hello Kenneth. First live stream. Oh, good stuff. What parties? Yeah, that didn't make it a bit more interesting. Music in the background. Dragon, how is a talisman made? Is the material really important, or can it be anything with meaning? So a talisman can be made with practically anything, really. You can even make it with paper. Now, the general understanding is if you're going to make it with paper, it doesn't last as long as if you made it with wood or metal or stone or something like that, something a bit more solid than paper. I actually saw somebody speak about this not too long back, and they actually mentioned that if you make a talisman with paper, it will last about 6 months, whereas if you make it with metal, stone, or wood or something like that, it can last like several years. So yes, in a sense, the material you make it with can be very important, but it's just a case of whether you make it with paper or not. Okay. And if it's a talisman you only want to last a short period of time, then paper is excellent for that purpose. But talisman is really it's imbuing energy into an object, which is then used to when you need that energy type of thing. So if amulets are usually referred to in the same vein as talismans, but their amulets are usually regarded as being protective only, whereas talismans are everything else. A lot of people still refer to them talismans as being protective elements. But if you were to create something which was for protection, you take a piece of jewelry, you imbue the energy into the jewelry of protection, of warding, and then when you need protection, you can just hold it, and it's almost like activating it, bringing it to life, sort of thing, for that period of time. So that's yeah, it can really be a simple thing. There are some talismans which we can, if we look into like Jewish mysticism, it's usually then created on a scroll, on a piece of parchment, rolled up and then put into like a little tube, which is often put next on the door frame and something like that. That's a very specific tradition, though. But yeah, and in that case, with the talismans, amulets that are created in Jewish mysticism, quite often that relies on the symbolism, the actual the kamea that is created, the shiviti, which is actually created on a piece of paper or a piece of parchment or vellum or something. And it's a combination of divine names and such things, which are combined in a certain manner, which then becomes the talisman. It's very powerful and it gets activated. If you look at things like the greater key or the lesser key, I'm getting mixed up, the pentacles in the Keys of Solomon, the planetary pentacles. There again, they can be used in a talismanic format. You pick the one you want, you inscribe on a disc of metal, and then you awaken it or enliven it, imbue it with energy. Quite often you'll say psalms to actually do that. So lots and lots of different ways to do it depending on tradition, but really it boils down to taking an object, imbuing it with energy, which then carries that energy, and you can use it with either, that type of thing. James, may I ask a boring admin question? Go for it. Carry on. Absolutely. Kerry, hello, Kerry. Kenneth, just sharing with the group, I did a blue Jupiter ritual last night, came into some money hours later. It was crazy. Nice. Well, Jupiter's fantastic planet to work with in that regard. Luke's interesting way. I feel like when I meditate and just focusing hard on discovering some memories, even old ones or things that wasn't seen. Yes, you will. And this is actually part of, I've spoken about it before, the Toltec path practice of which is called recapitulation. And it acts very similar to this, because what you're doing is you are kind of pulling yourself into a memory, and then you are disconnecting yourself from that memory. You're pulling your own elemental threads back and giving whoever or whatever, the place or the person, giving them their energy threads back. So taking your power back and giving their power back, type thing. Disconnecting from that memory. And when you do this, you kind of start to feel lighter. It's almost like onion. You kind of like peel away the layers, layer after layer after layer. And as you do that, more memories come to the surface, more things you have to deal with. And this is why, we talked about shadow work. When you do shadow work, you face things that you don't want to face about yourself, good and bad. It's not just about the negative stuff; it's also about the positive stuff. But we face these things that we don't like to face about ourselves, and we deal with them. And as we do that, we kind of peel away a layer. And when we do that, other stuff starts to come to the surface. So yeah, it's just part of the process about know thyself. That's what we used to call it back in the day, just know thyself. The term shadow work wasn't used very much back then. Not in the witchy community anyway. Eve, hello Eve. Sunday. Love when it works out like Kenneth. Yeah. When you actually do the ritual and it really just kicks in straight away. James, alright. I joined the Discord earlier this week and liked the welcome post, but can see any other pages except for the welcome one. Is there something else I need to do? Is this the Red Coven? Just let me know if this is the Red Coven Discord. If it's the Red Coven Discord, you've got the welcome screen, then it says please click the thumbs up on the post itself, and that actually activates and it opens up the general chat for the members. Just let me know if it is that one, and I can always go do it for you if there's a problem. Trying to see who's joined recently. Well, just let me know what your handle is on Discord, and I will go and dig it out and activate it for you. Oh, hang on, now I've lost all my screens. I need that one, and I need that one. Okay. Lost my place. Morgan, where can I learn more about soul components, higher self, fetch mate, and beast, etc.? In lots and lots and lots of different places. If you want to learn specifically about fetch mate and fetch beast, that is a very traditional witchcraft perspective, and very specifically Robin Artisan. In traditional witchcraft, we often talk about the fetch, and as far as I'm aware, Robin Artisan split them into the fetch mate and fetch beast concept, which I like. That's my understanding. It's the lower and the higher. It's the what some people may call the demon and the angel, all that stuff. Bringing those two parts together into it and combining with all the other fragments and becoming a whole. When it comes to things like the Holy Guardian Angel, then that would be specifically Abramelin and Crowley, Salima. If you go into heathenry and Norse mythology, you're going to find there are usually 11 parts of the soul. If you go into a variety of other traditions, like Kabbalah, for instance, you've got usually the three main, which are the Nefesh, which is the lower, Ruach, which is the middle, and then the Neshama, which is the upper. But you've also got two others above the Neshama, here, and my brain has broken. Sorry, there's another one, but there's usually a five-part soul system. So yeah, this is going to, depending on tradition, there's a lot to explore. There really is a hell of a lot to explore. So just look at as many places as you can. Really. Kenneth, I'm on an insane journey, and this is the only outlet I have to share it. I've actually been doing magic, Kabbalah, LBRP, LIRP, my own flavors of that. Scary part is stuff is happening. Oh, it's good thing that stuff is happening. It's supposed to happen. But I think a lot of us kind of get into this, and we're kind of like really into it and want to really do it and everything else, and we're like excited about like things happening, but in the back of our mind we sometimes doubt that anything is actually going to happen, and then it does, and yeah, it gets a bit scary. Oh, there's a storm coming. I didn't close my windows all the way. Please hold. I'll be back in a second, or I'm going to really have a wet floor. Hold on. Where the hell is my mouse gone? I'll be back in a minute. Okay, stress dealt with. Okay, sorry. Let's carry on. Where was I now? Oh, that was Kenneth. Dragon, how can I start planetary magic? Two great books. One is just called Planetary Magic, and it's part of the Aurum Solace tradition or order. So that was by Denning and Phillips. Brilliant book, absolutely brilliant book. It examines the planets from a lot of different traditions and the specific deities that formed each planet. And it's got the whole first part is huge. It just goes into all of the aspects of the different deities. And then what it does, it takes you through, it kind of introduces you to each planet, and it takes you through rituals. Now they are very specific rituals. It is the Aurum Solis order tradition, um, which and it works on the seven-pointed star, and but it explains all how to actually do the rituals, and you go through specific visualizations, which kind of envelops you in a cocoon of the planetary energy itself, and it is absolutely brilliant. I went through that, and it really connects you to the planetary energies. So that is a really good start, and it really helps you understand the connection. You also want to have a look at the days of the week. You'll also want to have a look at the working at specific planetary hours, and then once you have sort of gotten each planet sorted out, don't try and work with a lot at the same time. Just kind of focus on one planet, get to know it, then go on to the next planet, get to know it, sort of thing. But then what you can do, you can start combining energies, like you'll work on a particular day at a particular hour. Like you might want to combine Mercury, so you'll work on a Wednesday, with Venus. So you'll work during the planetary hour of Venus on a Wednesday. And those combinations have different things that are effective. Another good one was by Sarita Deste and David Rankin. They wrote Practical Planetary Magic, it's called. Did Practical Elemental Magic and Practical Planetary Magic. That was also a good book. That goes... The Denning and Phillips doesn't really go into Agrippa's intelligences and spirits, but the Rankin and Deste book does. It goes into the spirits themselves that Agrippa spoke of. Yeah, Agrippa. So those are two brilliant books to get to look into, and a good place to start. Right, Kenneth. I've got to get Damien Eccles' book. He walks you through it all, unless Uncle Lee has something. I actually need to read Damien Eccles' book myself. I haven't yet. I have got the Temple of the Horned Serpent. If you go through the first degree training, that takes you from start to finish. If you want a specific form of magic. The Temple of the Horned Serpent training is, and the whole philosophy around it, is my own personal worldview and ideologies and things like that. What I have done over the past 30ish years, put together, and what I do and what I follow. I've kind of like taken the best things that I've found over the years and put that into the first degree training, which is all the foundational practices. It introduces you to some practical magic as well, like we go through sigil magic, we go through candle magic, pocket magic, and the mirror box. So it gives you some practical stuff, but also it's about working on awakening your energy, awakening your psychic abilities and all that stuff. And not fast, like some systems that can really take you into a spiritual psychosis. This is a gradual process. That, if you do it like, start from day one, you do it like daily, it will take 8-9 months, and then you through the whole foundational period. So it's not even a long kind of training program, it's just quite quick. Then after that, if you want to go into second degree, you want to go off your own, that's absolutely fine. You've got all the foundations you need. You've been introduced to the elemental spirits themselves, to the actual kings, and specifically we work with King Peralda, King Zhen, King Nixa, and King Gode. And you get introduced to ancestral practices, you get introduced to the compass, and actually building your own compass round, which acts as your kind of a representation of your personal worldview. You get introduced to the spirits of the temple, which is specifically chosen because they fit into a specific format of the compass itself. When you get to know them, you get to know why they're in those positions, you can start replacing them with your own deities and create your own compass. So it's not like I'm kind of like saying you have to practice this way and there is no other way. It's a framework that you can start with and you can develop and go off on your own and do. If you do carry on with the temple orders, going to the second degree and everything else, then you know, if we do, it's still very new, so there's a lot of things developing in that side of it anyway. Then you know, if we do eventually do online group rituals and stuff like that, obviously we'll stick to the format and the deities and stuff that are part of the temple, because that's a group thing. Yeah, it's a bit different. But yeah, that's what I've got. I've also written some books. But my suggestion would be, if you want to follow something that I've done, it would be the Temple of Horn Serpent. That's really the best thing I have, I think. Morgan, can you mean for soul stuff? Well, I might have lost something there. Oh, if you want to put it that. Okay, there you go. James, yeah, the Red Coven. I clicked on the thumbs up, but it didn't open my other chat, as far as I can tell. Hang on a sec. You are James. One moment. Hold on. Yeah. James. What's the James? James. Must be this one. I hate what Discord is doing lately. Is if you've been quiet for a period of time, it kind of just does a J dot dot dot. But this person is the only J I can find, which is in the. Must be this. No, but that's Janice. You wouldn't come after Janice. Oh. And I'm just going to add a roll anyway. Alright. If that's you, then you should be able to see the community chat now and the suggestion box and the entertainment and the memes and the books and all of those channels. Just let me know if that works or not. Alright. Temis Jen. Hello, Temis Jen. Thanks for joining. Have you summoned Stolas? I haven't. If you had, how was it? I haven't. I've had absolutely no reason to work with Stolas. I think a lot of people kind of ask me these questions and they get a bit disappointed because, you know, I only work with a handful of spirits from the Glacier. Every now and again, something comes up, like somebody wants me to do a particular form of magic that I have no need to do in my personal life. Therefore, I've never worked with that particular spirit. But then, I'm, you know, the thing with working with the spirits of the Ars Goetia is that if it's the way I see it anyway, you kind of get in, you know, you kind of in. So if you want to work with another spirit you haven't worked before, you just go and call one of the ones you usually work with and say, just need to, you know, just tell him to come over or introduce me or something like that. And it's quite an easy way to go about it. So, you know, you don't have to build a relationship that takes a long time. But yeah, I only really work with a handful. And that's Boone, Oribus, Aim, Naberius, and Marmas, who I work with intimately. So I haven't worked with Stolas. Morgan, thank you, Liam Kent. It's a pleasure. Luke's, do you think that 1 year strong bond with deity is too small to having conversation with them? I feel like everything is so great beside talking. So 1 year, yeah, that's absolutely perfect. I mean, you can build a good bond with a spirit in a couple months if you've got your discernment skills in check. You can just call them, you can discern whether it's the spirit you actually want to talk with, and then just give them daily offerings and sit down with them regularly and just talk to them and tell them about your day and your life, who you are and things like that, and go and meet them and talk to them. Yeah, 1 year, absolutely. Morgan, please hold. I keep doing that. I know. At least it's good music. It's not like the elevator music or like when you're on the phone or something. Music's good at least. Kenneth, how awesome is this guy? I mean, let's just do a live stream and talk about magic. Well, why not? I have to talk about magic. Morgan Kent, do a daily practice, make offerings to spirits, etc. Will really help. Yeah, I agree with that. Thank you very much. Thank you. Kenneth, Adventures of the Magus, Nox edition, has those charts he's talking about. I actually saw some pages from that. It looks really good. I haven't been through that book actually, but it looks very interesting. Very graphical, which is nice. A lot of people like the graphical approach rather than the textual approach. I do feel like if you're a beginner, you might be missing out a lot on, going through that book, because there's no explanations of what you're doing and why you're doing it. So it's very good for someone who's intermediate, who's like done the rituals, who's either had it taught to them, explained to them, or has actually read the descriptions, and they've started doing the practice and they understand what's going on or how the energy flows, and then they can just refer back to it. But yeah, I think if you're a beginner, that's book's gonna be missing quite a bit. But I enjoy it. I quite like the look of it. Tracy Kenneth, is this the name of a book or website? Because I'm interested. Book, yes, it's on Amazon. Kenneth here is describing his course, Temple Law and Serpent, but there are several books. Yes, absolutely several books, yes. Tracy, thank you. I'll take what I can get. Morgan Sorley, I was chatting with Kate. That's fine, don't worry, carry on. That's what we're here for. It's Covenstead. Just witches getting together and chatting. You can chat amongst yourselves if you want to. Dragon, how are they like and how does one get to know them? So I'm just going to go back and see what that was in reference to. Do you mean the planets themselves? They are deities. They are gods. What you probably find with the planets, I hope you're talking about the planets, otherwise I'm just rambling on about something else. What you find with the planets is that every culture, well, not every culture, but like probably 90% of cultures, have deities, gods, which are associated with the planets. I mean, this obviously started with maybe earlier than Sumerian, but like Inanna was associated with Venus, for example. And then as it went through, it was Ishtar, Astarte, and then Aphrodite was associated with Venus, and then Venus from the Roman pantheon. But you've also got the Navagrahas from the Hindu tradition, which are the spirits of the planets themselves. They are the deities, the gods. And I think it gets very interesting because all of these various deities from all these various cultures have all these commonalities because they are the planet, and the planet obviously has a particular energy which it deals with, and it gets quite involved. But I mean, if you were to think of Mercury, Hermes, from the Greek, he was the messenger. He's also fast because he has the winged boots. So fast moving things, but it's also about the temporal, the things about the head and the air, the airy aspect, and education, knowledge, communication, but also merchants. He's very connected with merchants, and also thieves and tricksters. There's also that aspect of Mercury. So you've got all these different energies which they work around. But if you go into Jupiter, Jupiter is about abundance, and all of those aspects, bringing things in, creating more. If you go into Sun, on a Sunday, Sol is very much about self, about ego, but also healing and also gold. So you've got these specific things which are revolve around each planet, specific energies about them. And there's a lot of correspondences. We were talking about correspondences on Into the Wildwood a couple of weeks back. You know, the metals and the plants and the herbs and the animals and all that stuff that actually are recognized as having associations with planetary energies themselves. So there's a lot to actually discover when it comes to the planets. But they're gods. So, you know, all we can really say about them, and they're very interesting. I love working with the planets. All right, Temis Gen. I think it's Temis Gen. Tell me if I've got that wrong. What's your advice working with the Goetian? My advice actually is to work with spirit boxes, and I say that because it's the approach I took very, very early on. It was a method that Oren Leach, if I have it right, I think it was Oren Leach used to speak of, and Rufus Opus also spoke about it in his book. And what this really means is getting a box, any kind of box. It can be decorative, it can be small, it can be big, doesn't matter. It's going to be dedicated to one of the spirits of the Goetian. And then what you do is you decorate it. You put the sigil on the top. If you want to put you want to put the planetary association for the spirit itself, you can put that in. You know, just whatever you feel that energy actually needs to come through. And then you put offerings inside the box, particular herbs and like boon, for example. I put dried, when I started my boon box, I put dried orange peels, I put nutmeg in, some cinnamon rolls, a few other things. I've added it to it since as well. Every now and again I kind of add something to it, something new to it, and I kind of say a prayer to boon and everything else. But basically you put the offerings in, and then what you do, you just call out to the spirit. You can use the N if you want to. Now that we have modern demonology, we now have the Ns. This wasn't available before. And the Ns work fantastically. I love using the Ns myself. And then you call that energy forth, and you ask that energy to introduce itself to your spirit box, where you will be making offerings to that particular spirit. And what you can then do is, going forward, you may make an agreement with the spirit that will be once a week or once a month or once a year, whatever that agreement is for you and that spirit, that you will give offerings or burn a candle. And what you can also do is write a note, like a little message or a letter even, to the spirit itself, asking for particular things, and you may want to suggest that you will do things for the spirit in exchange. You write it out, you can fold it up, put it in the box, and you know, once that's accomplished, or if it's what I'll often do is I'll do like a lunar cycle. At the new moon, I'll write a new thing for the coming month. And then at the next new moon, I'll take that one out, I'll put a new one in, and I'll burn the old one as a votive offering. So there's lots of things you can do, but I think the spirit box is great because it's something physical, tangible. It's small. You haven't got a huge big altar. You don't need a huge big altar, and it can be a teeny tiny little box. It doesn't need to be a huge thing, but just enough so you can put some stuff inside your offerings. Every now and again, you're going to want to clean it out and do new stuff. But it's this little thing that you can keep around, and you can actually talk to it, and you are talking to the spirit. And this is why I love spirit boxes. It's my main go-to when it comes to all of these Goetian spirits specifically, because those are the ones I work with. But I would do it with any of the other spirits as well. You can even do it with gods and goddesses if you want to. You know, there's no limit to it. But it really is a brilliant system. I love it. All right, moving on. Morgan, have you worked with Necronomic Spirit? I have not. I do. I've read it. I've been through it. I considered it many, many times. I just haven't. If you do, I was talking about this with somebody else the other day. If you do want to get into the Necronomicon and the spirits and the what's his name, Alazif or something. The system itself, the actual magical system that revolves around it. Go and have a look for Donald Tyson's books. He's written a lot in regards to this and developed the whole system. I've lost my place. Oh, here we go. Kenneth, that's a valid point. I have paired that book with some stuff for you, S. Connolly and Damien Eccles. Yeah, as I said, I need to read Damien Eccles' books. I watched that documentary not too long back. Seems like a great guy. Morgan, do you work with archangels, Raphael, etc.? How has that been for you? I did. I don't work with them very much anymore. But you know, when I was working practical Kabbalah, and when I do work practical Kabbalah, if I do, and I need to work in a particular circle which is Kabbalistic in nature, I'll work with the archangels. And they're very powerful forces. I'm going to come back to another book. I obviously read a lot. There's a book by William G. Gray called Kabbalistic Concepts. If you want to work with the archangels, get that book and read through it, specifically the first part of the book. There's a very interesting approach to actually working with the archangels in there. You actually create like I don't know what he calls it, but kind of like almost like a servitor actually, and you pull forth the power and the energy of the archangel and enflesh this servitor, I'm going to call it whatever he calls it, into, you know, enflesh the actual servitor with the power and the energy of the archangels, and then they stand at full quarters. Now, what you'll find here is this is very similar to working if you're doing demonolatry and you're calling the four elemental kings, and fifth being Satan, but we're talking about the four here. Then you work with, like I do, with the like Peralda, Jin, Nixa, and Go. These are the watchtowers, the guardians of the four quarters. They've got various names, but these are the elemental forces you'll find. And when you call in the archangels as an archangel as an elemental force, to stand at the gate or at the quarter as a watchtower, very different to calling the archangel for other purposes. I don't like working with them myself in that regard. That's just me. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. If you work with, this is actually noted in S. Connolly's book, specifically in reference to King Belial, in the Earth Elemental. The description of him as being short is actually the same as King Go. So I have a feeling that they call them various different things, but they are just the elemental forces. That's what they are. And the archangels, I think a lot of people will visualize them differently, but yeah, but I think that's what they are really. But yeah, great book, great idea of how to actually pull in those elemental forces. Right, I guess he knows. Dragon, the demons you work with, Oribus, Naberius, and the other one. How are they, and how does one work with them? You would work with them all in the same way, build a relationship with them, and then you can, when you need to work with them, you can work with them. Naberius, I actually work with very much in terms of an association or a connection with Hecate.